Hello, this is Robin Sharma, and I'd like to welcome you to this podcast, which I'm going to call 5 Reasons to Shine. Well, here's the question I invite you to consider right now. Why should you shine? Why should you reach into yourself and play your best game as a human being? Why not just coast through life and focus on nothing more than just being happy each day? Why push the envelope? Why reach for something higher? Why stretch for greatness? In the past, sometimes I'd get a bit confused. Some books would say, go out there and shine brightly and be your best and live your dreams and play at your highest potential. And then other books I would read would say, no, the purpose of life is to simply enjoy the journey. The purpose of life is to simply be happy. The purpose of life is to live in the now. So there were 2 competing schools of thought. And as I've thought about those 2 competing schools, what I've realized is life is all about a balance. Both are important. It's important to reach for the mountaintop, to keep your eye on the summit, to realize your potential. And at the same time, it's incredibly important to enjoy the climb up the mountain, to enjoy the journey, to live in the moment. So for the purposes of this podcast, I want to focus on why should you shine? Why should you reach for your best? Why should you keep your eye on the mountaintop? And why should you stretch for greatness? And in my mind, there are 5 reasons to shine. First of all, to realize your talents. I believe it's so very important to realize the talents that have been invested in you. One of the deepest of all of the human needs is the need for self-actualization, to know yourself, to know your talents, to know what makes you special, and then to go out there each day and present those talents to the world in a way that's going to add value. One of the greatest of all secrets of happiness is to realize your potential. It breeds great self-respect, it breeds fulfillment, and it breeds joy. I'm sure you're like me. I want to get to the end of my life, and while I'm laying on my deathbed, I want to feel that I've used up all of my potential, that I've realized that I've spent the best within me. The second reason to shine, to feel special. I believe every single human being wants to feel special. It's like that old idea you've probably heard before. Every single one of us wears an imaginary button on our lapel that says, make me feel special. I was having dinner with a friend last week, and I asked him, I said, what's one of the most important things in your life? And he thought, and he said, Robin, to be recognized as my peers as someone who's doing great work. Well, every one of us wants to be recognized. We all want to stand out, and we all want to be respected. It's our human nature at play. So the second reason to shine is to feel special, to be acknowledged, to be celebrated for the good work and the great people that we are. The third reason to shine, to elevate our quality of life. The more you shine in your career, for example, the higher you'll move within the organization, the more resources that will be given to you, and also generally, the more abundance and economic prosperity you will see. In previous podcasts and in many of my books, I've mentioned that there's nothing wrong with material things. There's nothing wrong with living in a nice house. There's nothing wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with driving a nice car. All those material things make the journey of life better. As a matter of fact, when you have economic resources, it gives you a greater sense of freedom, and you can give back more to the people that you love and the people around you. Some people have read The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari and thought that I'm suggesting go out and find bliss on the top of a mountaintop. And with all due respect, that's not what my suggestion is at all. My suggestion is simply, if making money and material things are your number one priority, you might be sorely disappointed when you get to that mountaintop. But a strong material life is an important thing, for sure. I just don't think it should be your number one priority. So on this third reason to shine, as you realize more of your potential, as you push the envelope, as you play your best game, you'll set yourself up for a much richer quality of life. I've always believed that the income you make is a reflection of the value that you add. And as you add more value to your clients, as you add more value to your community, as you add more value to the world, I believe life wants you to win, and you begin to receive more value. The people that you work with begin to view you as indispensable. They realize that you're contributing. They realize the impact that you have, and generally, you get rewarded in kind. The fourth reason to shine, to satisfy our human hunger to create. Now, I believe this is a big idea. Most people think that creatives or creative people are people like artists or sculptors or poets. What I've discovered, having worked with so many different people around the world, is that every single one of us has a well of creativity that resides within us. Every single one of us has enormous creative potential. And even more importantly, every single one of us has a deep need to be creative, to realize your creative potential, When you live your creativity, you begin to feel happier. So as you begin to shine each day at work, for example, and as you begin to produce more, and as you begin to get your projects done, and as you realize your goals, really what you're doing is you are creating. Or let me put it this way, productive output is an act of creativity. And the more you produce and the more you create, the better you'll feel and the more you'll shine. And then the fifth reason to shine is the most important one, to have an impact. As human beings, we're hardwired to make a difference. Every single one of us wants to make a contribution. We want to know that we're not living life in vain. We want to know that the work we're doing and the lives that we're living are meaningful and they're helping other people. And I guess ultimately what we want to know is that when our lives are over, we've left something behind, a legacy. So focus on these 5 reasons to shine. Number 1, to realize your talents. Number 2, to feel special. Number 3, to elevate the quality of your life. Number 4, to satisfy your hunger to create. And number 5, to have an impact. Yes, enjoy the journey, yet at the same time, reach for your very best.